All right, and we are live. What is going on, my specialist SPC here? And you see Aviators is back. Welcome back to the Midwest Horror Central podcast.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's freaking do it. Oh
You
my
can tell
god!
Ethan. You can tell Ethan's excited.
Yeah, it's good to finally get going on this. I'm sorry, everyone. Austin's work schedule has just been kind of really bad, and I've been trying to get him to do this for a while, and he keeps blowing me off. So you can just. I'm pointing the wrong way. You can, I'm kidding.
We're gonna get this down someday.
So anyway, guys. Oh,
we are here.
Maybe I wanted to talk.
All right, you go first then, fella.
All right, we're here. We're going to be talking about, well, since it's the 25th anniversary, guys, I think we're going to hop right into it with Resident Evil, and we're going to we're going to go over the summary of games, that all the games throughout the years, and maybe which one was, well, I don't know. Should we do best to worst or worst to best? How do you want to do it?
Unfortunately, there are still 3 in the main series I have yet to play, so I guess I'd only be able to rank what I've played or / currently playing right now. So,
okay, well, we can just talk about what we know now and probably get into our insights on the 8th game after that.
Works for me.
Works for me.
Okay,
baby girl.
So yeah, guys, as Ethan just said, 25 years since the first original Resident Evil came out. I mean, it has spawned countless games in the franchise. It has made countless movies, 6 live action, soon to be 7, plus 3 animated films. A Netflix series about ready to come out here in just a number of weeks.
Has it only been 3 animated? I thought there was more than that.
No, there's only been 3 animated. There's Vendetta, Regeneration, and Damnation, I think's the other one.
Yeah, fair point. Those are the only 3 I can think of.
But I mean, a game series like this, I know we've talked about this before here on the channel before, but some of these games kind of really just go out there. We don't really get the actual horror element that you and I are really into, of course, obviously, when it comes to these kind of games,
Right, absolutely.
And fair warning, guys, I've just finished Resident Evil 7 for the 7th time today, so I've been in a really big Resident Evil mood here for the last week and a half since Village's trailer and everything's been coming out. So I've been ready. I've been playing games left and right. I've played and beat Resident Evil 3 Remake. As I said, I just beat 7. I beat 4. This is all within the span of the last week, and this isn't even a joke, unfortunately.
Oh, God.
And I am currently and very much struggling on Resident Evil Remastered right now.
Very much so, which you kind of think out of all of them, being the first one, that would be the least challenging. Because it's always the original game that's never really the challenge. It's always the sequels that come after it that are always the most challenging. Mm-hmm. But let's see. Well, what is the most? So you said that you have a hard time finding ammo in the first one.
Yeah,
that's your biggest problem right now.
The fixed camera angles, I think, right now are the biggest thing for me that are just really getting me, because I'm used to going forward with my stick, right? And then all of a sudden I'm turning around and then I'm running back the way I just came from. It's
yeah, it's kind of that it's third person, but it's you're viewing yourself through a camera, an actual wall camera, and you're going room to room. That was always frustrating with me too with the first one. That's why I'm glad they fixed it. Actually, the original second one was like that too. I mean, the original first through the third, I'm talking the originals, they were like that. They kind of had that camera-based third-person view. Not the one where you're constantly behind the player. like in the remakes, but like, you know, that security camera kind of third person view. Is that what you're talking about in the first one? Oh, I think we lost. Hold on, guys. Hold on one second. One sec, guys. Technical difficulties. Hey.
My computer, so.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah, you froze. And like, could you hear me the whole time?
No.
Oh, you couldn't? Okay.
No, you cut out. You cut out first, and then I went. So whatever you're talking about, you can just keep talking.
I was talking about the third person, like the camera angle, third person view. Well, we'll get right back into that.
Yeah, you can just keep talking about whatever, and then when I get back, we'll.
Are we still live?
Yes, you're still live.
Oh shoot.
So you can keep going.
Okay. Bye. Okay. Anyways, guys, sorry about that. Austin will be back here just momentarily. No, as I was telling him, the third person shooters, particularly in the 90s, with that camera angle that makes it look like it's coming from a security camera, those are always a pain in the butt. Because like Austin was saying, you kind of move left to right instead of having the camera constantly pan on you. And as for the original first 3 Resident Evil games, that was always always hard for me to get into, because I don't know, it just felt so awkward. And I kind of Hi. I didn't have to talk that long, I guess.
No.
Anyway, no. I was just talking about the camera angle. So, you know, like in Resident Evil 2 and 3, the remakes, you know, in most third person shooters these days, where the camera is constantly behind you, or you can pan it around you. Well, I think your problem with the first one is that it's that security camera angle, mm-hmm. where, you know, you're in a hallway and you can move your character, but the camera isn't behind you. I think that's what you meant by that. That's what screws you up.
Well, and the weirdest part about that too is like, okay, I played the first 3 plus the 2 on the PSP, but I played the God of War series, and that's exactly how that is too, is fixed camera angles the first couple of games. So I don't know why.
I thought it was, well, yeah, that's because the first one, it kind of pans out really wide.
Yep.
To where you can kind of see the whole world, and then you're fighting the enemies. Yeah, I know what you mean. But that also moves too, whereas like what I'm talking about with the first Resident Evil is that you have that camera angle that just stays stationary. It doesn't pan in or out. It just stays static.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the more harder, and also too is actually like shooting, like.
Right.
You can stand still, but you can like move up and down and stuff, and apparently you can like.
You can't aim though.
Yeah, no, you can't exactly aim. You just have to stand still and move your stick up and down. If you want to do a headshot, you just got to go up a little bit and shoot them. But
right. No, yeah, I can understand why that was such a frustrating. But like I said, the original 2 and 3 were like that as well, mm-hmm. and why. They made it to where like the remastered second and third game, I don't know why they made it to where the camera is constantly behind you, you know, and where you can move around with it as at will. But then the remastered for the first one, they keep it the same as the original 1996. I don't know why they decided to, you know, do that.
I feel like with the actual remastering, I feel like that's why they kept it. Where like 2 and 3 from 2019, 2020 are more remakes. How they're like,
didn't they make a remake of the first one?
No, they've only done just the remastered. This is like the second time I think they remastered it. Right. They originally remastered it for the GameCube originally, and then they added it onto the PlayStation. So.
Right.
So I am experiencing the original Resident Evil for the first time. And again, it's not bad. I do see why everybody hails it as like the best of them all. Unfortunately, I disagree with that statement personally.
I would disagree too. I would still, if we're talking pre-7, I would still either mark it down to either 2 or 4.
I'm mixed. I'm mixed on 4. Like, don't get me wrong. As an overall game, it's great. I had a great time. Yes, I got frustrated many times. Yes, the regenerators absolutely terrified me and made me crap my pants every time I saw them.
And the Iron Maiden.
And the Iron Maiden and the 2 Chainsaw Sisters, all them. But
Dr. Salvador.
At the same time, though, this game came out right after the original Resident Evil movie from Paul W.S. Anderson. That whole series just gets shat on. The entire series just gets shat on because it's a lot of action. But
the first one I thought was pretty. I actually thought that was horror.
The first one is way more horror. They actually have, the zombies, all practical effects, mostly until you get to the lickers and the dogs. But
right, and I'm talking, and like the whole. What I loved about the first one is it kind of has that surveillance camera footage of like the lickers gnawing on that one dead body. I forget which one he was. And then I think he turns into a zombie later. And that the parts like that just creep me out. And, but I know what you mean though. Like the rest of them with like Nemesis and all that got more actiony than it did horror.
That's the thing that it seems like nobody ever wants to say about Resident Evil 4. Like, again, another game that is hailed as the best of them all, the masterpiece of the entire genre. Again, I disagree with that statement, but I look at it as what actually kind of started the downslope of the Resident Evil games. That's because, of course, 5 and 6, they're way more action heavy. I have yet to play those. I'm working my way to it. I'm going to probably start 5 after I'm done with the original Resident Evil. But it seems like that's something nobody ever wants to talk about, is how more action-packed that game is. Yes, it does still have the horror elements. You still get the creepy castle, the creepy village, the villagers, Salazar, Dr. Salvador, as you just said, all them people. Like, they fit the horror genre. They fit the actual element of what makes Resident Evil Resident Evil. You still get the horror from them, but when Leon's doing kip-ups and suplexes onto heads and roundhouse kicks and all the guns you get in that game, it's just it takes me out of it to an extent, but I do look at it a lot.
Doesn't
more
he
as
do
an
that?
action game.
Doesn't he do that in the second one, the remake, or no?
No. The second one in the remake, he just does shooting, and he's not.
Yeah, they kind of made him more ninja based in the fourth one and the sixth.
I mean, granted, his character is supposed to be, like a special agent now because he's working with the government. He's protecting the president's daughter and going after her and all that stuff. And
yeah, I kind of wish they kept him kind of as a rookie cop. It's always it kind of. I don't know. I think that's why I like Ethan's character so much, because he's just a regular guy with like no combat experience or law enforcement. I think he's like he's supposed to be like an accountant or something, or a clerk. And he just, that's what makes it a little more realistic. I guess it's just having an average everyday guy just kind of serve as the main antagonist. I know not to get off topic, but I kind of like to use like Gordon Freeman of the Half-Life series as an example. Like he's just a nuclear physicist, and all of a sudden these aliens start popping in. He's got to fight them all, and it's like he's had no combat experience with that whatsoever, but he still is able to come up top in the end.
Well, it's even too. You can compare it to like Outlast. I mean, Miles. Obviously, the only thing that guy's got is a camera, and he's just wandering around this big, wide, large, insane asylum, just trying to get away from all these crazy people. And then you get to
Waylon.
You get to Outlast 2 with Waylon.
No, Whistleblower.
Whistleblower. Sorry, my bad.
Yep.
I can't even remember what the guy's name is anymore from
The
Outlast
second
2.
one? Blake Langerman.
Blake, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's the same way with Blake. You know, he's just wandering around this entire little village trying to find his wife, and of course you end up coming across all these other things and this large pastor and all this stuff, and you don't really know what's going on. That's what I like the most about like 7 the most, because that's where it brings back the horror element that made the original Resident Evil so great, so hailed to be the best of the best. And because you're along with the characters, you have no idea what's going on. You're discovering stuff alongside with them, because even you and me, when we did our gameplays for Resident Evil 7, we had no idea what this mold stuff was. We didn't know what this Evelyn girl was. We didn't know why the Bakers were these monsters that they became and ended up trying to kill us and becoming these big, mortifying, disturbing creatures. And eventually you find out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm almost getting and we'll get a little more into this just a little bit, but like I feel like 8's going to be kind of like that too. It's going to have a similar story of why Tall Lady is like that and why her daughters are like that. There's another character in there too that was in the trailer. He kind of reminds me of Slash a little bit. I don't know who he's supposed to be.
His name, I'm not even joking you, his name in the game is Heisenberg.
Heisenberg?
That's his name in the game is Heisenberg. You have that. You have the little old lady Sage, I think is what she's supposed to be, but she's the one I still don't really know about, like what her background is and her story, because I think she's supposed to be like blind or something.
Or something along the lines of that. I bet she's probably going to be kind of like Evelyn from the second, like in her old lady form. But, what I was really surprised about when we get into the 6th game is that it definitely was action-packed. And then they had the spin-off Operation Raccoon City, which, of course, takes place during the events of 2. But you play as I can't remember what they're called. They're Spec Ops for Umbrella, I think, coming in to clean up the mess.
UBCS.
I think that's, who it is. And that got really shat on because it like I said, it was very, like they had Birkin in it, you fight Birkin, but it didn't have the horror aspect. It just felt like a almost like Halo, it just didn't have that like, I'm going to pee my pants kind of horror.
I mean, again,
have you played Operation Raccoon City?
I didn't know that was a thing till like 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
I watched gameplay of it and I'm like, okay, it's not my cup of tea, but I mean.
Yeah. Or it kind of reminds you of Ghost Recon a little bit. Like you're playing as one person, you got like 3 people fighting beside you, that you can command. That's what it kind of reminds me of a little bit.
It actually really is, because like even too, when you zoom in to shoot, like instead of just going in like this, like you're actually like up here and you can actually see like
through the scope. Yeah. Yep.
Because even another couple of games I'm going to play too, I've never played before. I'm going to be playing Resident Evil 0. Apparently that takes place like, it's either before or during the original Resident Evil. I can't remember exactly which one.
Before. But it's kind of way, I like there's action in it, but 0 is supposed to be kind of like, so the monsters you fight in there are supposed to be kind of like the prototypes, like they're not as serious. And this is like obviously before shit hits the fan around the world. That's what it's kind of supposed to. That's what it's supposed to be about.
Mm-hmm. And then the 2 Revelation games, Revelations 1. I remember playing. There was like a free first episode for Revelations 2, and I don't really remember much of it. I just remember playing it with my sister at one point in time. And
how far did you get in it?
We got to the end of the episode. Apparently, it's like 5 episodes or something like that. So.
Oh, really? I thought it was like 10.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna be playing those 3. I'll be playing again 5 and 6. I'll be playing those for the first time, but I just knew for sure I needed to get 7 out of the way again, just to kind of refresh my memory, even though it's only been a year since the last time I played the game. But
I don't.
with 7, man, it's got everything I like. Yeah, the final boss battle isn't really anything epic. And the same thing with like the molded. You only really fight the big molded with the big, whatever you want to call it, the claw on them. You get the little God, English, Austin. Come on, let's catch up here. Wow.
Come on, you're
Spider
making me
molded, I
look
guess.
bad.
I'm sorry. The spider molded or the
my
liquor
favorites.
molded, whatever you want to call it.
My favorites.
That's really about it. Those are really only the 2 negatives I'd have about the game. But other than that, again, back to basic horror, and that's what I love about it.
Do you remember? Oh my god, this reminds me when we played. When we were in the mines in the original 7, not the DLCs, and you're going after Evelyn, and then you have the basic fat molded that appeared, and then you had that really large fat molded. And I think I flipped out. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I think we were I don't think we recorded that part. But
I wasn't recording.
Yeah, but that part gave me a heart attack. and obviously in your gameplay video of us playing, what's the one where you're hunting down Lucas?
Not a hero.
Not a hero. Like you're shooting at that fat molded in the mine, and then it like runs up on you, and you're like, "Oh my god, stop it!" No, you're just,
dude. That game is terrifying. Like,
yeah.
Even too, like playing it in VR, man. I was terrified all over again. Like after, of course, the first time we played it, yeah, I was scared. I will willingly say I was scared till we got to the mines, and it just basically turned into a straight action for a while. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, it's fine. This is fine.
Yeah,
I can live with this.
Yeah. So I mean, it did have its freak out moments. It really did. And everyone was kind of funny, or everyone was saying, like when you watch the Resident Evil 8 trailer, that lady what is it again?
Demetrescu.
Lady Vampire. Yeah, we'll just say that.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna butcher it. Everyone's like, oh, she's gonna turn into something gross, like every major Resident Evil villain has so far, and they're probably right. That probably is gonna happen. I just feel like Village is gonna have the exact same horror as like Outlast has, or the 7th Resident Evil. Now with 5, me and Jeremy played that, because it's co-op. Mm-hmm. You play as Chris, and then you play as the other chick, and I can't remember her name. Sheva. And of course, Whisker is the main bad guy in that game. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but all I'm gonna say is that you might look at that as a little more actiony than horror.
Oh, dude, I've seen gameplay. I've seen the final thing of fucking, what's his name? Redfield. Boulder punching a boulder into lava.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
So stupid.
So, but I mean, that's why, and I've talked about this before too, is that's why you never really want to put a co-op into a horror franchise, because it just, like, if you notice, like, the Fear series, they came out with the 3rd one in 2011, and you could play as the Point Man, who you played as in the first one, and then his brother Paxton Fettel, who was the main bad guy in the first game. Mm-hmm. You put those two together, and then you play as them, and they're trying to, and it's like, it just adds less to the horror factor, because you're when you play with somebody else, it adds that perspective of like, you're not alone, and you're also not afraid. And that's why like Dead Space 3 did so bad, because same thing, they added co-op into it, and it made a lot of fans run for the hills, and Electronic Arts couldn't really recover from that afterwards. Mm-hmm. And I think the only reason that 5 didn't cause the franchise to stoop so low was because they had more than enough fan base that they knew they could recover. you know, because I mean, the whole franchise was popular way before 5 came out.
Mhm.
So they kind of said, well, okay, well, we won't add co-op again. We'll just, we learned our lesson. Whereas some video game franchise, some horror, I can't talk either now. Horror-based video game series, when they add co-op in there, unless they're big, like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, they're not going to recover if they add co-op,
Well, even too, another big thing Resident Evil's done the last couple of games, Last year they did the Resident Evil, what's it called? Resistance, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like playing Dead by Daylight all over again.
Yeah.
You have a mastermind. You have, it's 3 or 4 survivors, something like that. And for me, even online stuff like that really kind of just, I don't want to say sours me, but it just kind of, it's like, why? Like games like this, like Resident Evil, Outlast, even Silent Hill. I've never played any of them, but I kind of get the point of it. But there should not be any I agree with you. There shouldn't be any co-op. There shouldn't be any online multiplayer stuff. This should just be a straight campaign-based game. That should be all that this is.
Yep. And a lot of people, I think the reason why Capcom decided to do that, as well as the other, like Monolith, who created Fear, and then you have EA, with Dead Space. I think the reason they did that was because they thought, well, Halo pulled it off. Halo added co-op into their single-player campaigns, and they thought, well, if Halo could do it, we can do it. But again, though, I mean, Halo isn't a horror-based video game franchise. It's more fantasy / sci-fi than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean,
that's why they were able to
pull it off.
Yeah.
See, and even this new Resident Evil game, with Village, you're going to be getting another type of online gameplay thing. It's here in the background. You can't really see it, but it's called RE-verse.
Yep.
You get to play. I don't know exactly what it is. It looks basically like Team Deathmatch, maybe, but you get to play with all the heroes from the Resident Evil franchise from the last couple games. You get Chris and Claire, Leon, Jill. And then you get to play all the villains. You get to do, I think you get like these little pickups or something, or you die, you get the chance to come back as whoever, Jack, Nemesis.
And that's what I don't understand. Like, just because you can do stuff like that doesn't mean you should. I mean, that, because the fan base is going to love, you're going to have the true fan base you're going to have the fan base that's going to love the series, what it is. But then you're going to have the original fan base that's going to go like, well, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I
feel like they're just trying to keep up, though, with the times. Because, today's games are now mostly online multiplayers, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlefront.
But
Overwatch.
Then again, I know. But then again, like I said, though, different genres. That's what to me, it doesn't mean that's going to work for every single genre.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly horror, especially horror is what I should say.
Yeah, I highly agree with you on that statement. It just keep horror as just strictly campaign story. Keep it like that.
But I also have a feeling when 8 comes out, though, I don't think fans are going to really worry about the online as much, because you never really see that in any Resident Evil game. And if you do, it's usually like the flare is there, but then it dies as soon as it came.
Mm-hmm. Well, and another big thing too with, the online Resident Evil stuff is like, why? Just for me personally, I still say just why. Like, I don't get it. I never have. I never will. Because you and I, we're still old school players. We still like our campaign base.
We're old school, but we still like modern or new horror games, just as long as it lives up to that psychological factor.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the many reasons why I'm excited for 8. The biggest thing of all is there's going to be such a wide variety of like villains, monsters.
Be honest, you're playing it for the vampire gals.
No, I don't know enough. I don't know enough about them to really care yet.
He doesn't want to admit it because he's live. Ah, he's smiling.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I am curious as to who they are, why they're doing what they're doing, who this Lady Miranda is that they're working for.
You mean Lady Tall Lady?
Well, Tall Lady's working for another lady who's called Lady Miranda. So I think she's gonna be like the big bad.
Has she been? No, I thought it was I thought she was the ultimate villain. But then again, that's the beauty of trailers, though, is that they always they fool you. They're like, because people are going to be like, oh yeah, the Tall Lady, because people think that she's the main villain, but it might take a step higher. I don't even know what Lady Miranda looks like, but I don't think they revealed that.
Nope. I played the demo yesterday. There's 3 different demos.
I just want to look it up just to be sure. Yeah, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, there's 3 different demos. I didn't get very far. I got lost, so I didn't get to finish it, unfortunately. But the first demo from yesterday is just the village, going around the village, doing these little oddball things. Next weekend is going to be the castle. So you get to go wander around the castle. And then I think you get both of them the week after. You get them in like a dual pack kind of thing. But
yeah, I just looked her up now. I can't find any clues about her. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe she'll be taller than Lady D.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that for now.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I really look at like this year especially, I feel like this right now is like the golden era right now of Resident Evil because, especially this year, like this is like the year for Resident Evil. We got Resident Evil Village coming out here in a couple weeks. We've got the RE-verse thingamajigger behind us coming out the same day. We got Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, the TV show, coming to Netflix here soon. We got a brand new movie coming out, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It's supposed to be straight horror. You're supposed to get all the great stuff. We got Leon, Claire.
It's not Welcome to the Family?
It's not Welcome to the Family, unfortunately.
Oh.
No. And they even we've talked about it here a little bit already, but Dead by Daylight is actually adding Resident Evil to the game too now.
Is it sad though that I kind of gave up on Dead by Daylight?
I didn't play it for very long either.
I mean, it's basically like when Friday the 13th came out. You and me didn't play that for that long. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just because it was so choppy. Maybe they fixed it with Dead by Daylight. I don't know about Friday the 13th, but that's why I kind of gave up on that video game because it was just so choppy.
I mean, they were still fun, don't get me wrong, but like
right.
My favorite thing about Dead by Daylight were like the killers in there because they were so different and unique and stuff. And I'd love to see like a little mini series of just certain characters for like a certain episode.
Right. Yeah, no, I'll give you that. That is one thing that they managed to pull off was like the look for the serial killers. I mean, they didn't just add like the classic ones like Freddy Krueger and all them. They, they created their own villains, which I give them props 100%.
So I guess what do you think about what I just said? Do you think this is like the golden year of Resident Evil, or do you think it's just one of the higher years?
I think I wouldn't say the golden. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't go that far. I would say it's probably very anticipated. And the only reason I say very anticipated was because of how far that the franchise has gotten and how well 7 did. So of course, when 8 comes out, many fans are going to have that same expectation as 7. Mm-hmm. I'd say the golden year of Resident Evil was probably 2004 when the 4th one came out. I hate to say, but I really think that was the golden year. Either that or maybe 2019 when they started remaking the oldies.
Oh, that's even another thing I forgot to talk about. Resident Evil 4. We are going to be getting that on the Oculus 2. You're going to be able to play Resident Evil 4 in VR.
Whoa. Are you going to be able to handle that?
I don't know. I don't have an Oculus, unfortunately.
Yeah, God. How much are Oculuses these days?
$200, I think.
Oh, that's not bad. You can afford that.
I could. But man, the thing of it is like, how many more times? That's another thing I have a problem with Resident Evil 4. How many more times can this game keep getting like remastered or released on a new system? Or now we're going to be getting it in VR. Like,
well, okay. So I guess, are they remaking 4 or are they remastering it?
I'm not really sure exactly what they're doing.
Because if they remake it, that would make it so much better than just remastering. Because remastering, it's still in the same engine, but you're just brightening the graphics up a little bit. That's all it is.
Well, that's one of the things everybody's been thinking, and apparently Capcom's been hinting at it. But I think this was what they were talking about, because everybody's been thinking that that's what they were going to do, was remake Resident Evil 4. Like they were going to remake it like they did with 2 and 3, and bring it on the RE engine and update the graphics, update the guns and everything like that.
What was the 7th game on? Was that on the Unreal Engine?
No, that was the first game on the RE engine. All these last now 4 games have all been on the RE engine.
Okay. I swear to God, I thought the 7th one and even the 8th one, I thought they were going to be on the Unreal. But the Unreal is very good too. I mean, if they came out, say for instance, if Resident Evil 9 comes out on the Unreal Engine, I'd be totally up for that.
Well, I think that's why they did that. Like they made up their own engine so they could just work on their own games and work on their own engine. They can do all the tweaks and everything they want to do instead of going through another company and doing that.
Right. Because I mean that it'd probably be cheaper to do it that way. I mean, if you do it on the Unreal Engine, then you have to pay them to help them to, put it in their game.
Exactly.
So and it makes sense. And Capcom has done very well with just the Resident Evil engine itself.
Mm-hmm.
So props to you, Capcom. I mean,
yeah, I've been very impressed.
Whereas Mega Man, was never a success, Resident Evil was. Mm-hmm. I'm kidding. I did like Mega Man. I'm joking. That was a joke. Mega Man's awesome. But you guys have come a long way. I mean, that you keep it up.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, we've kind of brought it up here a few times, but I've never actually really talked much about it overall, but the actual Resident Evil movie franchise,
Are we the one with Mila Jovovich?
Yeah. I just watched all those for the first time last year. Like I binged every single one of them in a whole weekend, and I'm going to willingly say this. Are they the best movies in the world? No, definitely not.
No.
But I had a good time watching them.
Well, I'm going to say this. Anytime they base a movie off of a video game, and this is where, Silent Hill wasn't even able to pull that off. I will give the live actions for Resident Evil credit though, because they actually, Alice wasn't ever in the video games, but they pretty much stuck to everything that the video games stood for instead of taking their own ideals. And I have to say, normally whenever you make, like I said, a live action out from a video game, it's never going to do well. But 7 or 8 live action movies?
6. It'll be 7 with this new one coming out.
Well, yeah, that tells you that it's got to be doing pretty damn well. I guess Silent Hill was a close second because they had 3 movies.
2.
2. So, I mean, I guess if you have 2 or more, then that's saying something, that they must be doing something right. But especially like with the first Resident Evil live action movie, that one really stuck to its tradition. Like it didn't, and what I mean by that is that they didn't take like the monsters and make it like their own design, make it completely different from the video game. They still stuck with the same designs as the video games.
Yeah, I can definitely give that credit. I mean, of course, early 2000s, we were really getting into like the CGI. Definitely the CGI dogs, the CGI lickers, like I said earlier, they're definitely,
I love the CGI though back then compared to now, because now it just looks too computery.
It's debatable. Depends on what it is for me, I guess.
Yeah.
But the thing that I would say that they probably didn't do right, though, are like the actual characters from the franchise. The only character I think they did extremely well, and I wish would have been in all of them, I wish would have got her own spinoff, was Claire, played by Ali Larter.
Yep.
Like for me, she honestly for me was the best character out of the entire series. I don't want to say I didn't like Alice, but I just kind of thought she was just bland.
I liked her.
I mean, man, she's not bad. But at the same time, she's just not who I would want as, my main character, I guess.
Are you saying
Sub Money, what's up, man? What do you guys think about the Resident Evil movies? You came in just in time. That is exactly what we were talking about.
We just said that we hate them, and we hope to God that they never make one, because I'm going to burn the movie theater to the ground.
Wow.
That got really dark. No,
really dark.
We just talked about, literally, we just talked about that right before you came in. We both loved them. Austin was saying how he wasn't really a fan of Alice. I liked her. But in the same sense, though, it would have been better if they used someone to play, if they just kept Leon or Chris in there, and, or even Jill.
See, man, Jill for me was probably the worst out of them all. I didn't like the actress. I did not like how they portrayed her character in Apocalypse and Retribution, I think's the other one she was in, the fifth one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I couldn't remember, but yeah, for me, she was definitely probably the worst of like the OG characters from the franchise.
What are you saying? You could play a better Resident Evil, babe? Is that what you're saying?
Duh.
They gave you like black leather pants, and they gave you
this long luscious hair, man. I could get anybody.
like as you're flying through the air, you can clearly see the cables. Just
yeah, see the cables. So you watch my wig fall off.
Yeah, it's.
The thing, though, I will say that the Resident Evil movies did do good and did get right were the zombies and the creatures, except for Nemesis. Like,
no, I think they did. They got the physical character aspect down.
They got that part right, but from how Nemesis actually came to be, like it was just that one guy that she was with at the end of the first movie, like
I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I think Nemesis was pretty close to the video game as he was the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my favorite part is when he's killing all those Umbrella soldiers, and like the one black guy in there, he's like, "All right, man, it's cool." And then like in his vision, it's like not a threat, and then Nemesis just walks away. Mm-hmm. Still one of the best parts ever.
Somebody, I want Jill Valentine to get her own movie. See,
Austin doesn't.
Okay. Yep. You caught me.
Well, you just said it.
No, I didn't like the Jill they portrayed in this movie. If they recasted Jill, if they gave her own movie, bring the right person to play her, it could be solid. You could just do a straight Resident Evil 3 film. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing other characters, because even though it's weird, I just kind of talked about how I didn't like him kind of in the fourth game. But my favorite character in the franchise is Leon. Like, He's just that rookie cop who's just, again, is discovering what's going on. You know, he's just coming into town for his first day of duty. There's zombies everywhere. He meets this random stranger looking for her brother, and he ends up helping her save the day, essentially, even though the world is still into like chaos.
Mine used to be Chris, but I think it's just because not anymore, because it seems like Chris's character throughout each game kind of deteriorates.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you know, he's been like facing all these monsters longer than any other character, so he's probably losing his sanity, as you could probably tell by the Resident Evil 8 trailer.
Yeah, he's the thing I think I'm most curious about. Like, why is he doing this? Like, did he find out about what? Wow, Mia. Wow, I almost said Claire. Wow, sorry. What Mia did in the previous game, working with the collection. The collection is the name. I thought it was the corporation, but it's the collection.
I think you want to know my theory. It's because he had an affair with Mia, and then he kills her to cover that up, so Ethan doesn't find out.
That'd be a decent twist.
Yeah,
It'd be a messed up twist.
Like it's Chris's baby in the game, not Ethan's.
Yeah. And, you know, I will say this, man. I am really looking forward to the new Resident Evil movie, because they said this is going to be strictly horror is what it's going to be. We're going to be going to the Spencer Mansion. We're going to be seeing all of our favorite characters: Leon, Chris, Jill, Claire. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Jack, which is very disappointing, because he's probably still my favorite villain in the entire franchise right now.
No, he might come later on.
He could. That's a movie I'd like to see, man. I'd love to see somebody do a Resident Evil 7 movie.
I would too. I would probably betray Ethan, because, you know, obviously.
Even to what they should do, like halfway through the show, when you get to that part with Mia and Zoe, actually lets you pick who you want to save, because, man, you pick Zoe, man, you are doomed to be alone. Because you give her the serum. Evie kills her. You go later on into the game to save Mia. She dies.
Wait, I can't remember. They had 2 syringes, right? Oh, no, one was used to stop Jack, right?
Yeah, one was used to stop Jack, and then they had just that last one left, and they had to... You had to choose, man. That'd be cool if Resident Evil Nemesis focused on the UBCS soldiers, and the RPD battles would be great if they did that. You know, on the zombies and some mutated creatures. See, that'd be something interesting, too, we never really get. Because, I mean, obviously you brought it up earlier, Ethan. They tried that with Operation Raccoon City, and it obviously did not do very well.
Yeah, it plummeted very hard. But once again, it's one of those things where, you know, the fan base is so big that any mistake Capcom does in their games, they're going to just say, okay, well, lesson learned. Mm-hmm. Whereas most other franchises, if they make a mistake with a video game franchise that has a lesser fan base, they're basically like, oh shit, this is going to deplete us of so much money.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Call of Duty is going to be going anywhere, because now they're just targeting like the 12, 13-year-old audiences. I hate to say it, but
the young, fresh gamers.
I got to get some water here. I'll be right back, guys.
So, Submoney, we were kind of talking about it a little earlier. So, my favorite game in the entire franchise is Resident Evil 7. And I don't really think Ethan's really said what his was yet, so we'll probably get his thoughts on that when he comes back. But right now, what is your ranking of the Resident Evil franchise, of the games you've played, if there's been some you haven't played yet? Because, man, I don't know. Just some games I will say I'm kind of looking forward to playing. I still need to play. If you weren't here for it earlier, I played Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake. I just finished 4 for the first time here a couple days ago. I've beaten 7 now for the 7th time today. I'm in the middle of working on the remastered of the original game. And I am going to be going to 0 after that, and then 5, then 6, and then the 2 Revelation games. So I'll have like 10 Resident Evil games under my belt finally. So, again, some I'm looking forward to, some not so much, in all honesty. I'll give the game Resident Evil 6 an okay. It wasn't scary. It felt like action. Yeah, that's the thing I always hear about it, man, is 5 and 6 are almost just straight action. I brought it up earlier. I thought Resident Evil 4, honestly, was a lot more of an action-based game. Like, it was still good, but for me, it was honestly the game that was able to raise the bar for the franchise, but also started on the decline into the what we've been getting before now.
They're here, mother.
We're here, mother.
Oh my god.
So somebody just said this, Ethan.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
And I 100% agree with you on this, man. Resident Evil 7 in VR was a super scary experience. I said it earlier. I guess it was last year. Now I played it in VR for the first time, and the scares and the terrors just.
Well, when you were over at my apartment in Bismarck, you were playing it, and I remember just poking at you because you were like getting in the scary parts, and you were like, "Stop it!"
Well, even too like the beginning, because like I went back and I rewatched our gameplay of it, but I'm like trying to stay back. You're like, what? Go forward. I'm like, I don't want to run into the dresser.
Shoot it.
You know, man, I did that again today.
Did you?
Well, there's one part I completely forgot where the tripwire was, and I walked right into it, and I died, and I was like, it's just the gameplay with Ethan all over again.
Oh God, okay, which part was it in Outlast 2 where you fell off the edge and I started laughing? You remember which part?
Oh, I had to go and get the rope.
Yeah.
And then I came back in and I jumped in. You're like, what? I'm like, I have the rope, and I went and I just felt that. I'm like, uh-oh. And you just
Did you take it down? Because I can't look it up now.
No, it's there.
Is it?
Yeah.
I typed.
Oh, Ethan left me. Okay, well, that's cool. He'll come back. Anyway, I would love a Resident Evil remake. You know, the first one. You know, man, I would love to see that in just, like in the RE engine right now. Like, have it over the shoulder. Let me bring this guy back in here once. I don't know where he went to, but yeah, if anybody is at all curious too here, I'll bring it up here for you guys. Here's Ethan.
I had accidentally closed out of the tab. I just was on YouTube. I typed in your name and I couldn't find it. So
here, I will find it. If you want to keep talking here, I'll look it up here real fast.
Oh boy, what am I supposed to talk about?
I don't know, Ethan. This was your idea.
Oh. Let's see. Who? Well, for this is a question for the audience. Who is your favorite villain, Resident Evil villain, and why is it Mr. X?
Mr. X.
I'll wait for you guys to make the give the answers. Did you find it?
I think so.
I know we're kind of off topic with Resident Evil, but I just had to look up this funny moment here. So basically, I told Austin to, because there's a part where you need a rope to get down from a winch. And I always give Austin like the bad tips. So I always tell him, oh, you should jump down there. Jump. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So we go back and he finds the rope and he is about to put it over the winch or he forgets about it. And then he falls down the pit and I just started laughing my ass off.
Real quick before I go in here, Sub Money, do you guys got any Funko Pops of Resident Evil? Not yet. I want to get the Tyrant. This is the one I want to get. The one where he's like completely mutated. Can't wait. I think it's this one, Ethan. Yeah, there. Okay.
I can't hear anything though.
Can't hear anything?
No.
Oh, that's no bueno. Yeah, sorry guys. I know. Yeah, like Ethan just said. Yeah, we are a little off topic here, but this is just too funny not to watch.
Let's see here.
Can you hear it yet?
No.
Does anybody know how to do this? Favorite villain in Resident Evil is Alex Wesker.
Albert Wesker. Oh wait, Alex is the daughter. My bad. Sorry, you were right. I was wrong. I was thinking of Big Bad Al.
I don't know why.
Do I have to do anything on my end or
possibly? I don't think so though.
No, I shouldn't have to. That's I'm just kind of looking at the.
Okay, we'll do this instead. So I will put this here in the comments. So if anybody here wants to go check it out, Ethan, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What time are we at here with this? Oh, we're a little. What do you think of a Resident Evil remake, the first one before 2 and 3? No, I'd love a remake of the first one because instead of a remaster, you wouldn't have what Austin gets frustrated with. You wouldn't have the hallway camera angles. You know, where you're only kind of going up and down, and the camera angle stays the same. I think an actual remake, like they did with the second and third one, would be superb. And I think you can agree with that.
Can I also say something else that bothers me right now about
No.
Oh, I'm going to say it anyway.
No.
Every time you go through a door, it like the screen blacks out and it just shows the door. Like, I don't know what it is, man. It just takes me out of the game.
Oh my God, Kate, can you not bitch about something for once?
Wow.
Just blow up.
Yeah, Jesus. Hey, I'm just saying, as of right now, I'm not a big fan of the original Resident Evil. And I know that is probably just complete and utter anarchy. And everybody's going to probably, want to,
You know what, everybody, please unsubscribe from the channel.
Wow. Ethan, you know how hard I've worked for this and you're just going to do me like that? You're a cock. I hope Nemesis comes to your house.
Yeah, I hope so too. He's my sleep paralysis demon. We don't have to worry about that too much. I'm trying to think of what else we need to cover.
My only other question of this podcast was going to be, what do you want to see for like the future of Resident Evil? Whether
are you asking me or them?
You and them. I'm asking kind of like, what do you want to see with like the game series And then also, what do you want to see with like movie or TV in the future?
Boy, as of right now, I think what I expect is kind of already being answered. But what I really wouldn't mind, and I think maybe this wouldn't work out because this will probably make the franchise go south. But I really wouldn't mind having like an Outlast based Resident Evil where you can't. It's more like a hide and run kind of game. But that's what I'm saying. That probably wouldn't work out for that series.
No, unfortunately. See, I feel like that would be still something, again, like you just said, for Outlast. But I think something like that would work better for, like, even a game for you, man, Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you knew or not. I was going to tell you this the other day, and I spaced it out. They are doing a remake of the first game.
Yeah. No, I knew about that. I
figured you probably did.
Yep. Yeah, you get to play as Harry Mason all over again. That'll be kind of, dude. Not to get off topic again, but the story to the first Silent Hill was so mind blowing, and it was so sad. So to have it kind of remastered or remade, God, I think I'm ready to be hurt again. I really do. I'm ready to be hurt all over again.
And see, man, we talked about this. Resident Evil's kind of more for me because this is more kind of like what I like, and I've never played Silent Hill yet at all.
I do too. I mean, absolutely. They're both equally good, but when you compare it, though, Silent Hill is definitely more scary, and the reason psychological because the monsters are a part of the character's psyche. Mm-hmm. It's not really there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what makes it a little more scary because it's like, how do you fight something that's not actually there? Which you can, like, obviously it's a video game, but if it was real life, that's kind of what you think of.
Yeah. I've never played any of them. I never got to play that demo for PT that everybody said they like raved about. That's kind of like what Resident Evil.
I really wish that would have became a thing. Oh, excuse me. Like, I really wish that wasn't canceled.
Yeah. What if another Resident Evil story started in the sewers? That would be scary, and there are dungeons and traps everywhere.
I thought they already had that, though. I thought they already had, like, a sewer...
They have just sewer levels, but they've never actually made, like, a full game.
I'm trying to think of, like, an area... Oh, boy. I wonder, I'd like to see, like, a setting in, like, the rainforest. I don't think they've done that yet. That's what I would hope for, like, a future Resident Evil game. Because they haven't done a jungle-based one yet.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. And then how about movies?
What do you mean by that?
What do you want to see for like future movies? Because I'm sure if this one's a success, they're probably going to do more movies, I'm sure.
Well, I would like to see a Baker one, a Resident Evil 7. But you know what? I really would love to see like a Resident Evil 8 live action in the future. That's all I can think of right now because I think they've kind of covered everything else. We just haven't had a 7 or 8 based movie yet.
Mm-hmm. For me, game wise, man, I would rather it honestly stick to like first person because for me it's more you get more of an experience.
It's in your face. Yeah, it's in your face.
Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I loved Resident Evil's 2 and 3 remakes. I did. I really did enjoy them. But again, that's the thing about 7 is I got to play that in VR. Again, it's like you just said, in your face, but it's more experience for me, I guess. And then film-wise, again, man, I just want them just to stick with the horror. Like, I don't want them to go too far like they did with the final chapter where it's just basically more of an action movie.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. They should just keep it the way it is.
Yep. And then finally, Ethan, you brought it up earlier, ranking the Resident Evil franchises that we have played.
All right. So,
Are we going to worst to best or best to worst?
Well, we'll do worst to best, but since you haven't played all of them,
I'm only
I'll
gonna
go
rank.
first. Okay.
I'm only gonna rank the ones that I've played.
Shut your mouth. Okay.
My bad.
I'm just. No, I'm not counting the spin-offs. I'm talking strictly 1 through 7.
Yeah, just the main story.
So worst, I would probably say 5, 6, 3, 1, 2, and then 7.
7 is your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy, unpopular opinion right now, man. Right now, my least favorite is the original Resident Evil.
Oh my god, I can't even talk to you right now.
I know. I'm a disappointment to life. I know.
Next thing you're going to tell me is that The Last Jedi was your favorite Star Wars movie.
No, it's my 5th favorite Star Wars movie.
It's your 5th favorite.
Or no, sorry, 7th. My bad.
7th.
But yeah, as of now, Resident Evil Remastered, Resident Evil 4.
Oh, did I say 4?
Did
I leave 4 out?
Yeah, you never said 4.
Oh shit! Sorry. 4, 2, and then 7, and whatever I said before 4. So, but anyway.
Okay. And then I'd have to go. I never played the original 3, so the 2 remakes are mine. But 3, and then 2, and then 7 is my favorite.
Yeah, basically the pretty much the same order as mine. Almost.
I mean, I'm hoping the other movies, again, I hope 1 grows on me. Maybe if I get farther into the story, I actually get to explore more, I'll probably like it. But the 3 hours I've been playing of it, and I've ran in circles like 20 times, I'm not really enjoying that very much.
I'm surprised you haven't like cheated and looked up like walkthrough videos.
I have been. I was doing that before I got on here because I couldn't do anything, and I was just getting annoyed. I'm like, you know what, man? Somebody's got to show me what I'm doing wrong here. So,
you cheater!
I'm sorry. I know. Again, disappointment to life. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it here for this podcast. Again, Ethan, thank you so much for joining because this is our podcast, obviously, so you have no choice but to be here.
I was gonna say I don't know why you're thanking me.
I don't either. I guess thank you to everybody who showed up. Sub Money, thank you for being so talkative here in the chat. And hopefully we get to come back here soon and do this. Thank you for the compliment.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
So make sure you guys go down below in the comment section. Let us know what you guys think overall about Resident Evil. Let us know what your favorite game is, your least favorite game.
Oh, and before we forget, don't unsubscribe from the channel. Please subscribe. I was completely kidding about that. He has worked hard for it. So yeah, give him a subscribe. Don't unsubscribe. Otherwise, I'm gonna choke myself tonight. But anyway, yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining in. As always, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.